Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Saturday, December 1st, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. Been going to Universal Studios, this weekend. I had a lot of fun. Just been living life, man. Finals week, so it was kind of, now's the storm. But how was life with you, man? Give me a report on the healing and everything.
Well, the official Armchair Ninja report, by the way, which didn't even occur to me in the first few weeks. I am, for those who don't realize, I'm pretty much living in an armchair right now. This is my life.
Oh my
sleep,
God.
Work and everything. Didn't even clue in until weeks into this.
You just blew my mind, bro. Like, you really are. Because every time we record, you're on your armchair or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm in a recliner. It's my bedroom's upstairs, so I sleep down here. I work in this chair. I eat my meals here, doing everything in the armchair.
That is amazing, bro. You need to take a picture of you, like, in the thing. Man, if you have, like, any form of a ninja outfit, like, just completely recreate it, dude. That is amazing.
Yes, I look very much like our logo right now. Things going good. Pain subsided a lot. And getting around a little bit better.
That's good.
Got my staples out. Everything going pretty good.
Yeah. I saw on your wife's Facebook, I think it was, that you walked to the, not necessarily walk, but you made it like standing to the supermarket or something like that, right? So you can do some like light walking.
Yeah, well, I can get around on crutches, so that's how I'm getting around the house. I just got stir crazy, after a few weeks. Wanted to get a little bit of Christmas shopping in, so we went to Best Buy for a little outing.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it was nice to get out. And my coworkers are dragging me out to eat lunch here next week after, so I got to sort that out too.
Hey, socializing's good, man. Everybody needs to get out and talk to their friends, Just don't go crazy in your house,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The nerve-wracking part of that whole trip, though, is it's ice and snow here, right? So it's really, really tricky, and I got to be very, very careful, obviously.
It's crazy, man. We're in a heat wave over here, so I just don't know that life.
Just stop. I don't want to hear it.
It is. It's been hot.
All right, so this episode, we're going to be covering Ultimate Beastmaster, the Season 3 finale, finally.
Yes.
And this week's ANW Junior episode, that's episode 7. But we'll get that out of the way first, because with the finale of Ultimate Beastmaster, we really got to focus our attention there, I think.
Yeah, that said, I mean, it's, when it comes to ANW Junior this week, I mean, we have to be critics about this or anything. And it's like, I know there's a lot of fans of the show and everything, but I got to say, this is probably the weakest episode of the season, in my opinion.
It kind of was, but I didn't mind it, and it had a few highlights, I thought. I didn't mind it, but I think that's probably fair to say. It probably was the weakest one we've had.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily, like, bad or anything like that, but I would say it was just there. I never felt incredibly invested. I don't know what it was, if it was the level of athlete, but I think maybe it was the storylines or something, and no discredit to any of the kids featured on it, but it just wasn't as engaging as some of the other stories that I saw. There was some where I was like, that's pretty cool, like a 3rd degree black belt, that's actually really legit. And there's some stuff, but then there's some where it's like, hey, I trained in my backyard course in a robe, so therefore I'm a bathrobe ninja. I'm like, did I really need to have this whole story that's really cool, but it's just not the same,
Yeah. Now I'm starting to worry. Bathrobe ninja? Was that just a random thing, or was there actually one that went?
No, that was a kid, man. I think he was in the middle group. He actually won. The kid that won in the middle group.
Oh yeah, I phased out for that kid. All right. So in this episode, I guess, was there anyone that stood out to you? Who was your favorite? Was there anybody you were rooting for to win?
Oh man. I mean, I don't necessarily root against anybody, but as I said, there was nobody that really I was invested in. I mean, maybe the kid that did like the gymnastics, he looked pretty strong and pretty talented. And also, I forget his name, but the kid that trains with Flip Rodriguez, he looked pretty cool. But once again, they didn't grip me the same, but I guess they would be like my top people that I was rooting for. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a Grinch this week. I don't know, bro.
Right. All right.
Who stood out to you, man?
I really liked the Afro Ninja, Luke Millman, the little guy with the big hair.
Which one? Is it the Hercules one? Or because there was two kids that looked exactly alike. They even referenced it. You're talking about like the youngest age group, right? The two boys? Or one of the two boys, I should say.
Dude, I swear to God, we watched 2 different episodes. What is going on?
Please don't tell me I watched the wrong episode.
I feel like you might have.
Okay, so in the very beginning of the episode, there was this kid named Hercules or something like that with giant biceps. And he was called the Curly Ninja.
Nope.
Oh, God. Which one of us messed up? It was probably me.
Someone said there was 2 episodes this past weekend. I wonder if I watched 7.
Oh, my God. Did we watch 2 different This is going to be... Wow.
Okay, so... yeah.
How are we
apparently,
doing this?
So apparently there were 2 episodes this past weekend, and we didn't realize that until just now. I watched episode 7, and Bijan watched episode 8.
Yeah. Did they show both episodes this week, or what's going on here? Have we been a week behind?
No, no, I don't think so. And I saw somebody tweet that out, and I should have paid closer attention. When I saw my PVR only picked up 1 episode, I assumed it was just the one that happened, but I guess not. I guess they did show 2.
This is weird, bro.
So, I guess the best thing for us to do, I mean, for the sake of coverage anyway, is I'll tell you about episode 7, you tell me about episode 8.
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts. I mean, as you guys could guess, I wasn't the most high up on episode 8, but, I'll give them the best rundown I could. But go ahead and go down episode 7, man.
So in episode 7, in all 3 age brackets, the first runs ended up rematching in the finals. So all of the losers of round 1 ended up going back for a second chance at the finals.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing to happen across the age groups. Do you remember way back, one of the earliest episodes, there was a kid... Oh, you definitely remember because you said the father was my twin. They adopted 2 kids.
Oh, yeah. Probably my favorite storyline of the entire season.
Yeah, so the other brother ran in episode 7. Nacssa, his name is.
Awesome.
Yeah, Nacssa Garemore. And
Love
he's great. He ended up actually beating the whole age category. So the 9-10, he won.
Oh, so same youngest age bracket. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very strong. Very, very good. Didn't have too much problems. I have to say Taylor Richards gave him a pretty good run for his money. She was really good, but couldn't quite match his pace. She was trying to keep up with him, going like extra fast, and fell on the TikTok in the end. But no, it was pretty decent.
So was your brother and the whole family like really excited?
Yeah, of course they were cheering him on the sidelines and everything. That was really good.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you all.
In the 11-12 age bracket, there was an Afro Ninja, this little kid with a big afro, and had like the craziest fall I've seen all season. One like most unexpected fall for sure. Right on the 3rd step, he overstepped it and he went head over heels right over the 4th step. Went right into the water.
Are you talking about like at the beginning, like the
very
first
beginning?
Part? Interesting.
Right at the very beginning.
That might be one of the first like times we've seen somebody fall. Was he okay though?
Yeah, he was fine.
Okay.
I'm a little upset, obviously, at falling so early. They interviewed him on the side, like, leave the kid alone. I don't know why they would interview him after that. So then he because he lost his race, he faced the winner of the second race and ended up beating him to move on to the finals. And I was really pulling for him because when he actually got the steps, he was really great to watch. He was really fast, really good, pretty short, so it was kind of made it a little more entertaining to watch him go. Very good ninja. That was Luke Millman. Squared off in his rematch versus Sawyer Shaw, and it was a great race. Luke, the shorter guy with the afro, hit his legs in the water coming on the dismount of the rings and did some really crazy moves to catch up. but at the wall, his feet slipped. They hit the wall at the same time, but because his feet were wet, he slid down. So it was one of those classic moments. Really, really good, though.
That's good to hear.
Oh, and I'm going to play a little clip here. I have to, because stupid ANW Junior made me cry. Joy Wolf, running in the second race, she fell on the rings, and then in her match versus Sawyer, she got hung up in the rings again, but Najee was there trying to coach her on, trying to get through, and she ends up falling in the rings again. And she was really upset. You could hear her crying. And Najee, comforted her in, the best way. Very similar to last week's where we saw Drew do that. Najee did a fantastic job as well. I got to play it. It's such a great clip, and it got me.
Joy splashes down, but gave it her all, and no quit in Joy Wolf.
Hey, it's okay. Hey, don't be sad. You're a ninja now. How awesome is that? Did you have fun? Yeah. You did amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. Can I have a hug? Yeah? I want a hug. Give me a hug. Oh, you did so well. I'm so proud of you. Good job. Here, come on. I'm going to help you down.
That's right. Every ninja.
And finally, breaking down the 13-14 age bracket. Really wasn't too close. There was a really unique girl named Peace Lopez. She was pretty interesting. She kept a good pace, but she couldn't quite catch up to Jeremiah Boyd, who ended up winning in the end. Pretty good, pretty fast. Actually, really fast, to be fair. I don't know if he's as fast as some of those guys we've seen before, but he's pretty close. He'll be one to watch, I think, when we go to the finals. So yeah, it was an okay episode. It wasn't the strongest. I don't think it was as weak as the one you watched by the sounds of it, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you're a little bit nicer than I am, so I apologize to everybody that might be a fan of my episode.
Here we're going. Here we go.
I'm not... How do I say this? Once again, everybody on my episode, they were fine. It was just an episode, though. Nothing really engaged me, and I can only speak for myself, I don't consider myself necessarily somebody that's like a Grinch or anything, because I have been really engaged this entire season. But for me, this was just an episode. There were some kids that really stood out to me in terms of being fun. As I said, there were two boys at the very first run. Oh, by the way, you're all about to learn that I don't take notes like Rich does, so I don't know any of their names or anything. I'm going to be vague as all heck. I apologize, everybody. But there are two kids in the first, age group, whatever, the two boys, and they basically looked the same, Rich. They're completely two different kids, backgrounds, everything. But they looked identical, curly hair, all the stuff. And actually same, colored shirts and everything, too. And they even referenced that. But one of the boys, his nickname was Hercules, and I swear, this kid, I am 3 times this kid's age, and he has bigger biceps than me. It is insane, man.
In the youngest age bracket?
Yeah, this boy was yoked, man. Just some giant biceps. I was like, how on earth? But good to that, props to that kid. I don't know what he's eating, but something's working for him. But yeah, I mean, how do I say this? I don't think any of the winners of this episode necessarily have a good shot of winning the whole thing. That said, it's all about how they're competing against one another, on the show. And we didn't have any of these breakneck runs. Well, that's not fair. I think there were 2 or 3 towards the end that were really close, or not close, but really fast paced and everything. But the ones that weren't the finals kind of were a little bit methodically paced in terms of their runs. And I don't know. It's just one of those episodes. Yeah, I don't know really what else to say. I said most of my piece, earlier, but it's the mid-season, I have to imagine, and this was just an episode. Wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. We don't have horse abs status stuff. We don't have anything where it's cringe. We don't have a bunch of kids falling on the second obstacle. It's nothing like that. It's just, I think we've been spoiled by some really, really talented kids on some really compelling episodes, and this was just an episode.
Cool. All right, so let's move on to Ultimate Beastmaster then, because this was different.
I mean, Ultimate Beastmaster, man, it was the finals. I enjoyed it. how do I say this? I really like the format and the fact that they had stakes. However, and I don't want to just beat this thing again, but it's like, when it came down to the finals, you can really make a case for if this was cumulative, you might have seen some things differently. That said, the final, like the stage 4 was very compelling. But I have one huge nitpick when we get there. A huge nitpick, or not even a nitpick, I should say, but a huge criticism that I have about the bracketing of that stage 4. But we'll get there. Overall, how did you feel about this episode? And give your thoughts on the first part of it, man.
I liked it. It kind of came close to what I was guessing, where they did run a level at a time, knocked one person out. So, one person after stage 1, one person after stage 2, one person after stage 3, and then they had 3 people run stage 4.
Yeah, you called it, man.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of works, I guess. The points are resetting each time, which, I don't know, I guess it kind of worked this episode because everybody was a strong competitor, so it didn't feel as weird and bad at moments. I liked a lot of the new obstacles. I thought those were great. Overall, pretty satisfied with it. I wouldn't say I was thrilled with it, but I'd probably give it an 8. I was happy.
That's fair. Yeah, I would go somewhere around there also. So let's go on to the drama of it. The first stage, we had 6 finalists. And at this point, I feel like we had a pretty good sense of a lot of their storylines. There were some where I was scratching my head. I'm like, who is this guy again? Oh, that's right. His storyline is that he gets nervous and throws up or something like that. Like there's
Right.
somewhere I'm like, who is this guy? But for the most part, there were a lot of really compelling stories and some really good guys. And I do like the fact that once again they reintroduce these guys to you. All eyes, on my opinion, were on Hector. I mean, this guy, he was the only person to complete stage 3 and stage 2. Well, people would complete stage 2, but you know what I mean. Like this guy really, really looked impressive. So his run stood out to me.
Yeah. So for those that didn't watch it, you've heard us talk the last few weeks. We've mentioned Hector a few times because, as Bijan said, he's the only person to beat all 3 levels. He was definitely a favorite going into this. And, he was looking really strong, took the course, and then just total mental errors really got him.
Boy, did he mess up.
Oh, he jumps onto the chain and goes all the way to the bottom, which in itself was a weird thing to do, and I thought that was strange, and then climbs all the way to the top to get the point thruster, and then back down, draining himself out very early on in the course, when really the goal should be just complete level 1, right? You only got to beat one person, at the end of the day, to move on from level 1 because of the format, right?
Yeah, they made it abundantly clear in this show they reset the points. It's not just get through this course. And to this point, we've seen the American athlete, I forget his name, but, he didn't complete the course. He only got something like 60 points. So he really didn't need to put himself at risk by going for that point thruster. But it's fine. I felt, okay, you shouldn't have done that, but he does have a rock climbing background. He's got some crazy grip strength. That's cool. This kid is not tall. In his strong suit, his background is not in any vein of jumping or anything like that. So explain what happens next, bro.
Right. So on I think it's called the energy coil, they've got to jump from standing on one barbell flipped on its side to another one. And there's a point thruster, but it's up high. And as they're jumping, they basically have to turn and hit this thing mid-air and then still stick the landing, which is a pretty far jump. It is not an easy jump to make.
No, and the people that are 6'3" don't hit this point thruster. It's very high up.
To his credit, he hit it. I mean, you got to give him that. He did hit the point thruster.
Yeah, because he put all of his faith into that. He jumped upwards rather than forwards.
Right. So he didn't make the jump across, which left him with 45 points against 5 of the people that won the semifinals, 5 of the best from this season. only have to make it to the mag wall. You don't even have to touch the mag wall, and they can beat him. It's just not a great position to be in.
What on earth was this guy thinking? I mean, it's hard to criticize from this point of view, but knowing this kid's strengths, this stage was designed for him. Or I should say, the second half of this stage was designed for him. Every obstacle past these energy coils was 100% in his strengths. It's grip strength. It's body control. It's rock climbing. Like he should be avoiding any risks whatsoever and just aim towards getting to the mag wall. So it was really hard to see, because as soon as he was on that energy coil and looking up at that point thruster, I'm like, don't you do it, bro. Don't you do it. Like, this guy is not even 5'10", and he's looking at this thing. And I'm just like, don't go for it. To his credit, as you said, Rich, he hit it. But he paid the price for going for it. And it was so unfortunate because he had so much more to show. I mean, with that said, I do appreciate the fact that, hey, the stakes are high. There are no second chances. You get one shot. And it was unfortunate that we see him leave the show based upon that. But I do like the fact that the stakes were real.
Yeah. Yep, it meant it was anybody's game. Even somebody who never finished a level. Here Corbin Mackin from Great Britain hadn't completed any of the levels. So here we have Hector Martinez, who beat all 3 levels. The only person who had done it goes out in level 1, and Corbin Mackin of Great Britain manages to beat level 1 this time around. So it was like, oh, good for him. That's, a new milestone. We had 3 people actually beat the whole level, which was good. Mm-hmm. And the other 2 fell on the mag wall. So, I mean, everybody were able to beat Chain Drive, this new obstacle that was some spinning cogs, I guess, with some bars hanging down. It was pretty good, a little dangerous, like metal bars flinging around were banging people in the back of the head. That's not good.
No, but it was an obstacle. I felt like there's been stronger obstacles, in particular the one in the mid-season, in the semifinals. But it's not a bad obstacle. I just expected a little bit more for the finals.
Yeah, I think it looked harder than it ended up being because so many people finished it. I guess it wasn't as hard as I thought it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, decent round. Lots of good competitors, like you said. I remembered most of them. This is our 3rd time seeing them, so it kind of helps.
Yeah.
I like the semifinals. I think it makes a big difference.
I agree. I do like the semifinals a lot.
So moving into level 2, the new obstacle here was Destabilizer, and it was the failure point of everyone.
I mean, wow. You want to talk about a tough obstacle. That was insane. Dude, do your best of describing this, because I have no idea how you're going to do it.
Right. So imagine 3 very long punching bags turned on their sides, offset from each other. So one end's closer than the other. So they're kind of like formed into like mini triangles, I guess. So they've got each of those punching bags is on bungee cords on either side. So you have to jump, grab this long. What's also kind of similar to the. Oh, what is it called? The something drop.
You're talking about from the first
hourglass, not hourglass drop. I'm talking about from ANW. There, you know what I mean? Like you grab the punching bag looking thing and it slides down. Why can't I think of the name of this obstacle? Everyone's freaking out at home right now. You know what I mean?
Not really. I'm sure it's there, but
anyway, so they have to jump over to this thing and wrap their arms around it and try to hang on, and then just generate enough bounce and enough swing to make it over to the next one, which was really looking impossible because 4 out of the 5 of them were not able to do it at all. Like, couldn't even make the first transition.
Well, I believe it also freely spun. I could be wrong, but it looked kind of like it was more like it was shaped like a punching bag, but I think it was like it was more like a wrap around the coils, which made it freely spin if you were to just grab it by your arms. So I think that might have also played a part. But the key to this is the coils swung you in a very awkward way with not a lot of momentum. and the next transition was quite far apart. So it was very difficult and awkward for a lot of these athletes to figure out the obstacle, which I can't necessarily criticize because it was proven this episode that it could be done. And at the end of the day, they are obstacles. They are things to be figured out. So, I mean, yeah, I wish I would have seen more people do it. But the more I think about it, the more I can't criticize it too much.
Yeah, I just felt like they're a little too far apart. I think it would have been more doable and more entertaining to see them a little closer. We could have seen one or two more people make at least that first transition.
Yeah.
And then, I think it would have made it better. It just came down to time, so everyone was racing through the first part of the course to try to get the best time. Except for Corbin, it was Corbin Mackin was the last guy to run and was a few seconds slower than the slowest guy, so that meant he had to go further. He had to make that transition. That was actually probably one of the highlights of the episode. It got very exciting, and he was able to do it. So good on him. The guy is very self-deprecating. He was like Captain Average. I don't know why he is so down on his athletic abilities competing in this crazy competition.
Well, I kind of liked his storyline because the way he presented himself was, I am not a all-star athlete like all my contemporaries. We have this world-class rock climber, world-class blah, blah, blah. Like all these people are like really talented or have really talented backgrounds. For him, I'm just a veteran, right? He was a veteran.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He has a veteran. He has really like powerful storyline, and he's just like athletic in many backgrounds. But in many ways, he's kind of like the everyman. And compared to all these people, he was kind of like the underdog. Because I'll be honest with you, it was him and the guy from America I thought never had a chance in this entire episode.
Yep.
And
me too.
okay, so at least we're in agreement of that. And it was quite entertaining for me to see him actually prevail. In particular, this second stage where, when he was going up, I was like, well, this guy doesn't have a shot because he's going too slow and he has to make this transition. Nobody else has made this transition. So seeing him actually make that transition and actually prove, like, hey, I deserve to be here. And I'm not saying he didn't, but you know what I mean? Like, kind of just like prove his worth in many ways. That was really entertaining, and I started really like cheering for the guy.
Yeah, he definitely put his stamp on the course at that point. I thought that was good. Moving into level 3, we had such a weird level 3 because we've had so many people fail on it early, all these weird little problems, people not getting point thrusters. With these 4 athletes taking into level 3, we did not have that at all.
Sorry, who dropped in stage 2?
Oh, we lost.
Oh, it was a Peacock, right?
Yeah, Mark
Green
got beat out.
Yeah. So my two favorite personalities, just so everybody knows.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're out in the first 2 stages. We have Hector and then the Peacock. I love those 2 dudes. But once again, the stakes are real. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I was pulling for Mozzie right after that crazy run that he did. I had to root for that guy.
We need to talk about this guy. So Mozzie the Aussie, in many ways, was the star of this episode. He was so talented. In his own particular episodes in the semifinals, he, in my opinion, was always the strongest looking guy. I mean, he kind of just was like an everyday man. He kind of reminds me of Nicholas Coolidge, acrobatic background, kind of like this, just crazy, doing these weird acro yoga type things, but really fun, outgoing guy. And just, I don't know. He was kind of like the star, like really looking very strong throughout this entire course.
Yeah, he did fantastic. He went first, set a really high bar for everyone else. James Drake of USA came behind him, also did really well. Not quite as well, though. And sorry, Mozzie beat the whole level. James fell on the Viper climb.
Did James even hit the point thruster? I don't think he did, right?
He did. He hit the mega thruster. Yeah, he hit both. So everybody was hitting like that first thruster and the mega thruster. So they were doing really well. But James was slower and didn't quite finish. Max Sprenger of Germany came next and did one of like the most epic like Kevin Bull Cannonball Alley moments for this show. He goes twisted around. So on the first point thruster, they if they hold off on their transition, they can kick the point thruster. But he was facing the wrong way, so he goes upside down and kicks backwards and hits it like I don't even know if I'm describing it well enough because it is amazing. So maybe you could do a better description than I did.
I mean, that was pretty close. I mean, if you've ever seen the term skin the cat, where you kind of just like flip yourself, or when you go on the monkey bars, if you were to kick your legs back upwards and wrap around the bar. Now I sound like a hot mess trying to describe this. But anyways, he goes upside down and he kicks the damn thing. It was so cool. I mean, even the U.S. commentators are like, I'll be honest with you, that guy deserves like 100 points after doing that. It's like, I was like, that's pretty talented. It's not one of those things where probably everybody, all these athletes can do it, but just the ingenuity of doing that, in particular when the stakes are so high, that was pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure. Max did great. Ended up going out on the top of the Viper climb. Went a little further than James and had a better time. So then it came down to Corbin Mackin, who was able to knock out
Ultimate
James.
underdog.
He had a faster time. What's that?
The ultimate underdog. Sorry.
Yeah, he was. I was like, he did great last level. There's no way he's gonna do it, but he did. He ended up knocking him out and moved on to the finals.
So going into the finals, for me, this entire episode, it was between two people. After Hector was knocked out, for me, it was, tell me the name of the guy that always vomits, blah, blah, blah.
That's Matt Sprenger from Germany.
Matt Sprenger. I mean, that's literally a storyline. It's just lame. But Max Sprenger, very, very talented, looked very strong throughout this entire episode. I know we haven't referenced him a lot, but he was, like, doing just as well as Mozzie the Aussie. And Mozzie the Aussie, for me, this was his, like, thing to lose because he looked so talented. He completed stage 3. He was the only other one to complete stage 3. Or actually, did Pukey guy complete stage 3?
Not this time, no.
Okay, so Mozzie the Aussie, only one, right? In the finals.
Yep.
Looked incredibly talented. If you were to add up all the cumulative points, it would go Mozzie the Aussie, then Pukey Dude, and then what's his name?
Corbin.
The Corbin, right? And even if not, if we were to just go based on the points of stage 3, it would still be that. So this is my biggest criticism. At no point did it matter of how well you did in previous stages. If you want to say, hey, it resets, but their placement in the next stage will be predicated based on their previous totals of points, that would matter. At least that would add some stakes. That had no play or reference in stage 3 or now the very finals, stage 4. Their whole, I don't understand how they made the placements of their runs. Because no matter what you want to say, the final person that runs this course has a clear advantage over the others, in particular if it's based on timing. And that's what stage 4 was. It was based on timing. Yeah, everybody's saying that it's based on points, but the points were timed. So it's based on timing of how quickly you can get through that stage 4. So why is it that the person that's done the best throughout this entire episode has to go first? And then the guy that's done the second best on this episode has to go second. And then the person that's done, he's done well, but he hasn't done anywhere close to the other guys, gets to go last. I mean, it's completely head-scratching and completely backwards.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I will say that I'm glad that points don't carry over to the finals. I do think that would be bad. Even when we had it in previous seasons, right? We reset to 0 for level 4.
Yeah, when it comes to the final stage, I'm cool with them resetting the points because now it's down to everybody else is eliminated. And now we're just going to see who's the best. I'm cool with that. But there still has to be stakes, in particular, if not everybody's running at the same time. In previous seasons, the two competitors ran against each other, so that everything was even. In this episode, not everything's even.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess in some ways, I don't trust the editing ever, right? I wouldn't even put it past him to go back and re-edit and add additional dialogue to say that he ran last if he didn't, just for the drama of they always want the winner to run last kind of thing. It seems a little weird to me that the final 3 competitors, but maybe it is that advantage. Like you said, what time you have to beat so you know how to push yourself faster and what times you need to get there.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with that. That was in my head, but just the way it was presented, I mean, they would have to do a whole lot of re-editing for it to be
Yeah.
presented in the way that it was. But we won't know. Only Dave Broom and a few other people that were, behind the show know. That said, I mean, I don't want that to sour what happened in this final because it was so strong. And I actually did enjoy, without that amendment of like, the ickiness of how they were slotted, and even if somebody else won, I would have still had this criticism. But the way they presented it of one person runs this entire daunting stage 4 and you have to complete stage 4, I did like that. It just added more drama to it. So I really enjoyed that. And like, how'd you feel about the course itself, stage 4?
Yeah, I don't know why it's taking us so long to get to that, because stage 4 was pretty awesome. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
They had...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
That's right. I was going to say one of the interesting things that they did was there were options on the way up. So everybody does the same beginning ricochet. It's like an I-beam going side to side. And then they choose. They can either go full tilt or they can go drop tank. And then they kind of focus. Everybody has to do motherboard, but then they can choose to do Razor's Edge or Vertigo. And then it comes down to the ventilator, which is like a final climb. And they can choose to either do a rope climb, an I-beam, or a chimney. Like, what the heck is it called? The
I-beam cross?
No, the chimney, like the
spider climb. Yeah.
Spider climb. Yeah, so it was like all kinds of options. You could pick and choose your strengths and what you can do faster. I liked it. I thought it was a really good way to do it.
Oh yeah, I loved the fact that they have options, and just there's a lot of strategy involved and a lot of chances to see different routes taken. So I really enjoyed this. Just one quick thing. I've seen a lot of competitors struggle on the spider climb. And we didn't see this episode, but in previous seasons. Is it different from the ANW version? Because there are some competitors that fly up that spider climb like it's nothing.
I don't think it's different. I don't know why nobody opted it. I guess the I-beam's probably the fastest, but it was also the hardest, right? Based on the fact that it narrows. So for those that didn't see it, it's not just a simple I-beam climb. They have to keep moving their hands, and it gets down to like a 3 inches wide by the top of it. So it's very, very hard for them to keep holding on. It's very high too.
Yeah, you're probably just holding on by your fingertips, at that point. Looks incredibly difficult. So props to everybody for, once again, it's all about the risk, and they went for the risk, and I appreciated that.
My one criticism of the layout of the whole final thing is that first point thruster. I don't understand why it's down where it is. The two guys that were able to do drop tank, basically run across these falling blocks. I don't know what you want to call them, but they run across. And the two guys that practically failed it, right, caught themselves on the final platform, were in position to kick the point thruster. The guy that made it across had to then climb down to get to the point where they were at naturally by missing. Like, it didn't make sense. It was like an advantage to not make it.
I completely agree.
Other than that, it was really interesting to watch. It was really the obstacles were cool. I liked it. I don't think we're going to break down every obstacle in every race here. It's noteworthy. Like, so Mozzie ran first, did really great, didn't really struggle. Max ran after him. And like you said, the story they gave through the season was that he threw up when he got excited or something when he competes, and he never did. So I was like, why are they even mentioning it? Oh, because he did when he completed level 4.
Hey, if there was ever a time, bro.
Yeah, he earned it, I think. So then it came down to Corbin Mackin, who I really gave no hope of winning it all. Did you think he was going to bring it home once you saw that he was running last?
No, honestly, I felt like it was still Pukey Guy's, like episode to lose. I mean, at that point, going into this, I thought it was Mozzie the Aussie, but I was really impressed. I was like, oh, Pukey Guy made it. Good for him, He took chances. He took the big difference was he took the ladder bridge, which was, more risky. I don't even think I would go for that because I've got god-awful balance, but he went for it. He made it through. Good on him. And it's Corbin Mackin. You know, he was the underdog, and at this point, he knew. And this was the other thing, just the way he was talking and interviewed and everything. Like, they're referencing, you have to beat this guy's time, you know? And so they would have to do a whole lot to, but maybe they did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It has to be the order they ran. It just seems really odd. It's a really odd way to do it.
Yeah, but so he knew what he had to do. And at this point, you know, he did exactly what I always say for people to do. Go for broke. Take the chances. You have nothing else to lose. And this guy put on those jets, and it was never pretty, but boy, did he struggle in amazing grace, if you know what I mean. Like, he just ran as quickly as he could through this course, and it was awesome, man.
Yeah, when it came down to the final climb, he was 1 point behind, so he had to do that final climb faster. So it was really exciting. It really came down to a nail-biter. Weren't quite sure if he was going to make it or not. But he did. He actually had a 19-point difference. He shaved a lot of time off of Max in that final climb.
He flew up that thing, man.
Yeah. So congrats, Corbin Mackin. He got his Cinderella story.
Yeah, he really did. And you know, very great story. I don't wish, you know, whatever my criticisms are, I'm happy for the guy. And it was a great winner, you know. So good on him, and good on everybody involved with the show. I really like the hosts this year. I can't necessarily criticize the hosts. I thought they were all pretty strong. And once again, my husband did great. I love Francesco. And I don't know. I think it's very clear the faults of the season. I don't think this is the strongest season. I think this is the least strongest season. But I think there is a lot to learn from this season, and I think in season 4, if they learn from it, they can have probably the best format that they've had. Because there was a lot of good changes on the season too, but the faults in the structure really hampered it. And if they can change those, and I have all the faith, people behind the show are not dumb, so I have all the faith in the world that they will see that. I think we're in for a very, very good season 4.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the hosting was a little weaker this year. If I was going to be fair, I think it probably was.
Season 2 was the best, bro.
Yeah, I think USA in particular, CM Punk did okay. I thought right at the end he came strong. Right by the end of the season, he was getting there, and I loved his reaction when Max Sprenger started puking. I thought his reaction was great. I thought he was just the sheer joy on his face that it finally happened was good.
Yeah, he kind of, you know, took into that whole WWE heel thing, you know, where he enjoyed kind of playing the mirror to Francesco, you know, like finding his own country to have a feud with and everything like that. And I think he came into his own. I have to imagine the other guy who's completely vanilla on the USA hosting team did you have a problem with him? I think he's just there. I don't think he sucks or anything. He's just there.
Yeah. He needs help. He needs somebody with a little more. I don't think CM Punk did as well as the guy last year. So I don't know if he'll be back. We'll see what happens. Before we end this episode, do we have any 5-star reviews this week, Bijan? We haven't been checking the last few weeks.
Yeah, we need to be better about that, bro. Let's see. We do. We have a 5-star review from Bailey's Story. So big shout out to you, Bailey. Says, amazing podcast. This is my favorite podcast. You know, really wants to recommend our podcast to everybody. I love it. I thank you. You are amazing. So, Bailey's Story, you get the 5-star review of the week. I thank you so much for everything. I appreciate the good word, and I appreciate the 5-star review. And you are awesome. Once again, Bailey's Story. Love you. That's it. Everybody, if you can, hit us up on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. I will shout you out on the podcast. And more importantly, it helps spread the word about our podcast to everybody else in the world. Much appreciate all your dedication and love. Please join the ranks of the Armchair Nation, just like Bailey's Story. Be awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Bailey. And thank you, everyone that's left us reviews over time. It definitely does help us out a lot. So that is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me as Rich at ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.